I want to talk about three things. I want to talk about the work that I used to do in my practice in Los Angeles, because it's a spiritual, emotional based practice. And that doesn't mean that it's like prayer based or religious based. It means that I learned through Chinese medicine, through a different side of Chinese medicine, that the body really is it's a poem. It's a walking poem. And often when people come in and they fill out my paperwork, which is very but when they would come into my office, I could look at the paperwork. I could, I've already interacted with them in some way, and then I can sit with them. I can feel their energy. I can literally touch their bodies and feel their pulse. I can look at their tongue. I can palpate their abdomen. I can palpate their bodies and their channels. And I can get so much information from people. And that, along with the paperwork, which gives me the cognitive ability, I will say things to people and ask them questions, and they think that I'm psychic. They think that I have some kind of extra sensory ability. And the truth is, I don't, beyond what Chinese medicine gives me access to. So there are many different ways Chinese medicine is categorized. TCM is one. TCM is called traditional Chinese medicine. There's nothing traditional about TCM. TCM was created in the 1950s. It had to do with the government and wanting to be sort of legitimate. This is my understanding of it as I was taught. And so it became a little more mechanized. It became like something where you could sort of plot it on a graph and give sort of protocol type treatments, still based in diagnosis, still not bad. TCM is still great. I know how to practice TCM. But there are many, many other ways to practice. There's a Japanese style of acupuncture that is much more gentle and that uses many frequent techniques that are absolutely not needle related in terms of hands-on treatment. There are Korean styles of acupuncture and Chinese medicine and physical manipulations and treatment. And then there is something that is the more emotional, spiritual side of, and that's what I do or did because I just resonate with it. It speaks to me. It gives me insight into people in a way that somebody else might do with, a different style of theory or diagnosis or approach. So in other words, when I look at the body, I see the emotions because I understand the emotional, energetic pathways and how our bodies are formed around those things. And so when I see somatized issues, with certain questions about organ systems and symptomology, and then people telling me their stories and me observing them, I can put all that together and I can understand how the emotional body is impacting the physical body. This comes in very handy when people have sort of gone through all the conventional styles of treatment, whether that be Western allopathic, whether that be TCM and traditional ways of that people are taught in a lot of the schools here for Chinese medicine. Other people do what I do. Other people use pieces of what I do, but I strongly resonate with it. It's something that can be very powerful when I get people who come to me who've given up. They've tried everything. They're at the end of their rope. It's like, nobody can fix this. That's what I used to do. And as a result, I stayed very busy. I didn't, because stuff like that travels fast and I'm just one person. And so I find myself in a very similar situation now. So I want to talk about my work now and what I'm trying to do for those of you who really do want to not only transform your own health and learn something different. And that takes time. Okay, getting on board this train, and I don't expect a lot of people to do it. If I had a couple thousand people do it with me, I would be over the moon thrilled until the day I die. But a change in health revolution is not about everybody having insurance, because what good is your insurance if the care that's there doesn't work, right? And if it doesn't heal us on a deeper level, if we as a society can't truly heal and get rid of our gut issues and our allergy issues, and some of that's tough because it's all tough because it's baked into our food system and the laws around our food and how our food is grown and the seasons of how we eat and what is acceptable as food. And it also gets into pollution, right? And things that are wrong with our environment, which then gets into what? It gets into how we work and why we're living and what we care about. Like, these things are revolutionary. And so you can't expect switching into holistic medicine to be a one pill fits all. If you go through the comments of the video, the vibration plate, what you will see, and this is nothing against anybody who said anything like this, because I understand it, especially having done the work that I've been doing for so long. I see the mental shift that needs to happen everywhere. And it's this idea that there is one solution for your problem, that I can give you an herb, or I can give you a formula, or I can give you a treatment, and everything's going to be right with the world. Everything is going to be right with your body. That is not how medicine works. Ideally, we prevent disease. We slow it down, we stop it early, we reverse it, we make the changes, and we continue on the best path of health that we can. I'm gonna have to do another video about what I'm going through and how that relates to the kind of work that I did in my practice, because it's about the spirit-body connection, or the emotional body connection, how our bodies work to digest, process, store, and deal with emotions. And our organs and our organ systems deal with those things the same way they deal with blood, cholesterol, lactic acid, food that we eat, you name it. Our bodies deal with emotions the same way. And the poetry of the body, as described through the medicine and through these particular ways that I treat, gives so much insight that even as a young doctor, even as an inexperienced doctor, I've been practicing on my own since 2012. I've been practicing in clinic since 2010. So 15 years, whatever. It gives me insight that is such a privilege, because it means I can help people to shift by way of using these theories and techniques that has nothing to do with me, other than me learning it and being able to identify with it and then apply it to other people's health. It is mind-blowingly, beautifully crazy. And the type of work that it is, I had to keep a very small practice. I had sort of a boutique practice. And what I did is I took people with insurance who could afford to pay, people with insurance and people who could afford to pay my basic rate. And then that allowed me to also have space and time to still offer treatment to people who didn't have the funds, because that's most of us, right? With the circumstances and the way my life has changed since COVID and what it did to my practice and my personal life, which I'm grateful for. I feel birthed into a new life, but it's been a rough journey. But now my time to sit with individual patients is very limited. Like, all of a sudden I have people in the town that I'm in wanting to be treated, and it's only a small handful because I'm just new here, but that's going to take up a lot of my time. And then I'm also offering time on my lives. And then I also have my Patreon, and then I have a little bit of time to take phone calls. And, I want all that stuff to fill up. I need to be busy, but I also have to raise my child. The money, if I'm able to make money again, that is obviously going to assist with that, but not totally. I have to be present. There's no one else to be present with him. There are people to help me with tasks. So my mission is to spread Patreon. My mission is to get people to join in there for free, and then maybe eventually become $2 supporters, or buy a year. A year is like $20. Either way, I want to educate. I want to give people some of the tools, the knowledge, the background, not just about Chinese medicine and holistic ways of behaving within your household that you can implant and let grow, right? These things are like seeds. And when you put them out, they suddenly start to bloom and show you other parts of the sky that I don't really have to explain. What most people say to me most of the time, including up till now, is, this just makes so much sense. This just makes so much sense. And I'm talking about people who are so far removed from any kind of holistic anything. Once people understand what I'm saying, they're like, oh, wow. And suddenly you can see the world new. That's what Chinese medicine did for me. That's what I want to help people with. It's a different paradigm. When I say Western thinking, it's a very specific thing I'm saying. And it really does get into like the philosophers of Western everything. Socrates, like all that stuff, right? If you ever took Western civilization in college or anywhere, understanding how the Western world thinks, how the Western world boxes things up, and the way that we conceptualize our existence, the world around us, ourselves, how those things interact. Eastern thought is profoundly different from that. And as a result, it offers different insight. The best thing I can offer is a telescope versus a microscope. Seeing things in tiny, which is great. Tiny can do a lot, especially if you understand this. And understanding this with this, also amazing. Interconnected, intertransforming. I love holistic medicine. I want to spread it, and I want people to help me do that. Like, we need this stuff. We need leaders. We need teachers. We all need to grow. We all need to learn. It's time. It's time to shift, you know?